Today in this video I am featuring an old Sangamo S29.15 watt-hour meter. This particular meter is ex-MED Wellington. I was given this probably around 1990, 92, around the period. The meter itself is a CT meter, so it's rated for 5 ampere. Let's have a look at the nameplate. On the nameplate, meter is rating 3 times 230 volts, 3 times, the dial reads for 300 to 5 ampere. So the dial gives two primary values for a 300 to 5 ampere CT ratio. The constant of this meter is 6 2/3 revolutions per kilowatt hour. 3-phase 4-wire float-on magnetic bearings. MED 57739. So the register, instead of having a decimal as on a blank 5 meter, and you'll see later in this video how that goes, reads 310 315535 kilowatt hours direct reading. You can see the unit wheel advances quite fast. The load for the meter elements is about 4.5 ampere. Just got an 1 kilowatt heater on here, which is still within the rating of this particular meter. You can see the disc. So 6 2/3 kilograms per kilowatt hour, which equates for a standard blank 5 meter, 60 times 6 2/3 equals 400 revolutions per kilowatt hour. As I like little flowers too, I'll acquire this plant today. Manetta bicolor climber. So it's a little flowery plant. Looks very cool. And the Sangamo meter on the background here. This S29.15 meter is wired up in series, so the grey wire is current coming in, so the current element, red phase out, next phase yellow phase out into the blue phase element, and an outish yellow jumper to the other check meter. To avoid having the potential coils affecting the accuracy, I put the red phase to the potentials that is gone to the active, stay separated away from the measuring. I got the S29 in series with a standard S320.7 check meter, CT meter, also wired in series. Potential coil separated, so the current through the left meter, the S29, should be exactly the same as through the right hand side meter. And the potential coil should not be affecting the measurements. I'll just wait till this meter clicks over to point 0. That way meter moves exactly 1 unit. The direct reading meter should advance 60 units because it's been geared into the register. So I'll just have a bit of patience for a few minutes. S320.7 is about to click over. That's it, stop here. And luckily the S29 appears to be exactly reading 60 on the last 2 digits. So let's the fun begin. So if the blank 5 meter advances 1 unit, this meter should go up to, it's at the moment 560, should be up to 620. So I'll zoom out and quickly flip over to the other meter. Just turn them back on. I'll actually run a bit more current through the meters. I put it on 2 kilowatts, it's about 9 ampere. Those meters will take a bit of abuse. CT meters usually take about 10 amps, 12 amps, without too much drama. So I'll see how we go. I'll go back to the S29. I got a nice speed on the disc here. Okay, the meters have not been calibrated, or the Sangamo is, the S29. So we'll see how well they go. We've got 0.1 now on the check meter. That's gone to 0.1. So we'll go back to this one. and we just let it tick over and see what happens. I'll set up the camera backwards, and well, this meter is for people who like meters. They will watch it in full speed, but I will probably fast forward a section out of this particular video. So let's see how we go. The rising demand pointer on this particular meter is incrementing by itself. So on a CT meter running at 5 ampere, 3-phase 5 ampere on each leg, at 230 volts, you should get a reading of 3.45 kilowatts. Is this load at 9 ampere? It will probably go off the scale, but I'm not too worried about it. Larry, HDXFH, he got some CT meters too from a local power board in Australia, and he had some meters with direct reading numbers, and I saw he had also some email SDR, I think, with a fixed digit 0 behind the register. Manufacturers do that sometimes. On larger sites it's not really relevant to measure in units. So sometimes registers, they get a fixed 0 or even sometimes 2 zeros behind the number. Or they just add a multiplier, as in case of a blank 5 meter. Like the meter I checked this one against, the Sangamo S29.15 is a blank 5. So that meter would have a multiplier of times 60 attached to the registers for billing purposes, which equates the same as 300 to 5 ampere on the CTs. So we're nearly on 1971.4 here, and S29 has advanced about 24, so nearly 25 on the register, which is pretty good. It's more or less spot on. The load is on this ammeter about 8.2 ampere, but this meter is under reading a bit because it had been abused over the years, so it should read about 9.4 ampere, but it's just indicative purposes. While talking about these Sangamo meters, the S320.7 meter on the right hand side, that's this one, it's a newer version meter, but it actually used the S29 base, which is quite a large base. It's a real big meter, and they've used the same base on a newer type meter. Also, a thing to note, and I'll show the terminal covers, is that the wiring configuration on this one is standardized more. I can zoom into the terminals. This one is gone standardized, like the normal metering standard: active in or current in, potential, current out looped into the next element, current in, current out, potential, and then to the last element, current in. So basically terminal 1, 2 is potential, 3 is current, 4 is current, 5 is potential, 6 and 7 is current, 8 is potential, 9 is current, and 10 is the neutral, or 12. It's the standard meter protocol, while the S29 is a different arrangement. Let's have a look here again. As I said before, we got current in, current out, potential, current in, current out, potential, current in, current out, potential, and then neutral. So here on 0.6, and on the other Sangamo S29 we're on say 98. 6/8 is 48, 6/36, yeah, so maybe overread a little bit. We'll see, we'll get it there eventually. Also, for the variation with the lighting effect, I'll do this particular meter video outside. It's a nice spring sun. The constant of, yeah, as I said before, the Sangamo S29 is 400 revs per kilowatt hour, while the S320 is 320 revs per kilowatt hour. Sangamo, they make very good meters, although they've never been that clear with their logic with numbers for meters, calling them whatever series. They don't really refer to any particular single phase, two phase, three phase. And on 0.8, the S29 is overreading a little bit. I can see that already from the readings. To do an accurate measurement, you really need to do at least 1 unit for a CT meter, or say 10 units for a whole current meter. So 9, it should have been reading 14. Getting close. $20 to 0 for the S29. I'll wait till this one flips over, so we've done exactly 1 unit, and we'll see the fact that the 300 to 5 direct meter is reading 60, a little bit over 60 units. Until it clicks. Something fell over here. The register's a bit sticky, I think. I'll de-energize here, it should be flicking over, but it doesn't. I'm going to take the cover off the S29.15, have a look on the internal. It's a very well made meter. Here we go inside. Relocate the meter. We look in the meter. That's the boss coming home. I'll just take the register off. That's the register has 2 little clips, so you can take the whole dial off. And it reveals the discus holes. That's mainly for reducing eddy currents on the particular meter. What I like on the meters is here the balancing coils, red, yellow, blue. The measuring elements are 120 degrees apart. This particular meter is not really that affected by reversed phase rotation, as the 120 degrees, like a lot of meters have the measuring elements 90 degrees apart, and that can be affected a tiny amount on the phase rotation and cause creep sometimes. I put the register back in place. This meter is a full brass gear train. The outside cover is made of substantial thick bakelite. Don't know why that's thicker than there, but yeah, glass window, cork gaskets, and yeah, pretty good quality made cover. So yeah, we'll put it back on, and this meter will definitely feature in a future video. I like this type, and I'll make also a video of a 100 ampere or 100 or 60 ampere meter of this particular series. So there's no hidden mystery in wiring up a CT meter. 3-core from the lead coming in. The white wire with the red marker, that's the current leading into the meter. That goes to this connector block here, goes into the grey wire in the meter. The red ones is the potentials. So I put 3 elements, 3 potential coils in parallel. The other red one is for the other CT meter. So the potential coils will not give inaccurate readings because they'll use a little bit of power, and it doesn't get added up onto the main meter, which has been tested. And then through all the meters, you get the grey one back, goes into the purple, which goes to the ammeter, comes back here, goes to the brown wire, goes back to the brown wire here, red wire into the socket, and out of the socket, through the load to the neutral, back to the light blue wire from the lead. So CT meters, 5 ampere rated meters, they'll take 10 ampere, 12, 13 ampere, some take 15. If you put one element in series with a load and 240 volts to the coil, potential coil, it will read 2 kilowatt hours of the load connected. So the nice thing is with CT meters is they're higher speed meters, so you have a higher disk speed for a particular load. So yeah. I hope the discs are clearly visible. I just changed the S320, the red black mark is there and the black mark is there. It's a 400 rev meter YL11, and you can see a little bit of drift. You can see the S29 runs a little bit faster. We'll plug it in. Well, the marks seem to be in step at the moment. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can see the S29 has gained a little bit here. I'll start the second test. The lenses and gear on the right hand side is lining up 0.5 now, and this one sits on 696, 796, the last 3 digits. So let this run for 1 kilowatt hour on the YL11 meter, and then compare the readings. The S29 does run a little bit fast, but I don't think it's that. Yeah, it might be 1 or 2 units out, but that's alright, I'm not too worried about it. The meter is probably 50 years old, and the magnets may have faded a bit, or somebody has tweaked it because the meter was not sealed. The YL11 meter is sealed, or was sealed anyway, this is still intact. So I'll let this just tick over for a while, and I'll take it from there. So I'll click up here, 0.1 units more or less now, and the Sangamo reads 0.2. .7, and the other meter reads 0.8.5. All set up. I'm nearly there now, 1 unit 1. Just wait till this one clicks over and then check the differences. But yeah, the S29 went a little tiny little bit fast. That's okay. A click will be happening any time now shortly. Click, there we go, and the meter reads 87,887. Last 3 digits is 887 was it for the reading. You have the Sangamo Western logo embossed in the rear of the meter.